Well, today I'd like to just give you a brief overview of where we'll be looking in the next 3 weeks or the next 3 sessions. We're going to look on preparation, but let me begin with a story. A young couple decided they're going to go out and take a hike, and as they did, they kind of forgot their time and weren't watching and actually kind of got lost a little bit. And pretty soon it's nighttime, and he says, no fear, I've got matches. And so he checks his pocket and there are no matches. And then it starts to rain. And he says, oh, we forgot our raincoats. What they did is they forgot to prep before they took their hike. And many missions agencies and personnel do the same thing. So we want to look at preparation for the organization on 1 month, preparation for pre-field, and then preparation for on the field when you get there. Those 3 things. So the first one, the organization, which if they prep, they set the model for their personnel to do the same thing as they move through the process. And so they want to look at what's our vision statement, how do we recruit, how do we select, how do we train our personnel, what kind of things do we cover, like team development? What other things do we cover? And they also, every agency has to have funds, right? And every agency has to have prayer. So they go into that as well. And so they do this not just piecemeal, but in a systemic way. And so we'll cover that in our first session. Second session is pre-field. So now you have the personnel before they go to wherever they're going. And what can they do to prep in light of where they're going to be ministering? So one of the things they can do is they've got to figure out where they're going, who they're going to work with, and now they can start reading, they can start watching videos, try to grasp what their worldview of these people is, and then how do they morph that then into ministry strategies that will actually be really, really relevant. And so they can start building categories. Here's what they believe. Now it's good to contrast that then with what the missionary themselves believe, okay? And so they contrast the two like that. And you can also add how does the Bible line up with these views and these values that each of these groups have. They can start to unpack all that. That moves us into the last session that we'll have is on the field. Now you're on the sets in the situation, you're where you're supposed to be. And so how do you start? Start ministry, right? No. You start by building relationships. And for some of us that will be going in that direction, it will call for learning the language and the culture. So as you set that up, then you can start comparing what you read and what you viewed in videos and so forth, and how does that all line up? And what are you grasping from that? And then you can set your own vision, right? But before you do that, you want to identify who cares if I really succeed here or not. And I'll probably give you one that you probably didn't have on your agenda. And then you can start to implement your plan. And after that, what do? You start evaluating, right? You evaluate, you readjust, and so forth. You prep. The organization preps. You prep before you go. You prep before you start your ministry on the field so that you don't end up like that young couple out in the woods with no matches and no raincoat.